This Heat Knicks trade features Cam Reddish. Every investment that you make won't pay off. NBA teams don't always get a return on their investment either. After all, there's no such thing as guaranteed money. If there was, everybody would take it. Then, there would be no money left. Sometimes, they acquire a player, and that player doesn't yield value. That's never ideal, but sometimes, it's the way of the world. For example, the New York Knicks moved a first-round pick to acquire Cam Reddish. As of now, they likely regret that decision. After all, Reddish has fallen out of their rotation entirely. Could they look to move him this season? Here's a deal that sends Reddish to the Miami Heat. New York Knicks receive G/F Victor Oladipo. Miami Heat receive G/F Cam Reddish. At the same time, different investments fail for different reasons. Sometimes, a young player never reaches his potential. So far, that's been the case with Reddish. He still has time to make good on his pre-draft expectations, but it's hard to say with any confidence that he will. At the same time, some veterans decline unexpectedly. Sometimes, that's because they suffer an injury they never truly recover from. For example, look at Victor Oladipo. It wasn't so long ago that Oladipo was widely regarded as a superstar. Unfortunately, his body had other plans for his career trajectory. By now, it seems safe to assume Oladipo will spend the rest of his career as a role player. Should the Knicks add him? Why the New York Knicks do the deal? This deal will not change the Knicks' fortunes much at all. This is not a headline-grabbing blockbuster. In all honesty, this is about getting something for nothing. Reddish has fallen out of New York's rotation anyway. Furthermore, that's done nothing for Reddish's trade value. The Knicks shouldn't expect a massive haul for him. A smart veteran who can provide some veteran mentorship for this young roster may be the best they can do. If so, Oladipo is a good choice. It doesn't hurt that he can still play. After all, the Knicks are trying to become a desirable destination for star players in the future. Oladipo won't vaunt them into title contention, but he should be an immediate upgrade over Reddish. With that in mind, a question emerges: why would the Win Now Heat make this deal? Why the Miami Heat do the deal? For the Heat, this is a low-risk, high-reward proposition. We are assuming that Oladipo will never be a star again. If you reject that assumption, fair enough, we respect your optimism. How about a little optimism for Reddish? If he makes strides, he should do more for this Heat team than Oladipo. A fully realized Cam Reddish would be a 3-and-D wing who also provides a boost of shot creation. Meanwhile, at 11-14, the Heat aren't necessarily in a position to make win-now decisions. In other words, they're in a perfect situation to take a gamble on a player like Reddish. Hopefully, they'll get a return on their investment. Knicks in active trade talks to trade Derrick Rose, Cam Reddish. The Knicks have been active on trade talks more than 2 months ahead of this season's February 9th trade deadline, according to Fred Katz of The Athletic, who notes that the team has shown a tendency in recent years to complete its major moves well before the deadline arrives. New York's 2021 acquisition of Derrick Rose came approximately a month and a half before the trade deadline, while last season's Cam Reddish deal was finalized about 4 weeks ahead of the deadline. Incidentally, Rose and Reddish are two of the players the Knicks are discussing most frequently with potential trade partners, along with Emmanuel Quickley and Evan Fournier, league sources tell Katz. Here's where things stand with those 4 players, per Katz. There's not a ton of demand for Rose, whose production and playing time have both dropped off this season. According to Katz, teams are wary of giving up much for the 34-year-old, especially given his injury history.